Welcome to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tattooing Network.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Your source for the latest Legion news, opinion, and analysis.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
John Archiquette.
Will somebody get this big walking carpet out of my way?
Matt Turner.
I'm not afraid.
And Joshua Gray.
You will be.
What's going on, Outriders? John, Josh, and Matt back at you again from the hive of scum and villainy. What's going on, guys?
Hi, I'm back.
Good morning there, sunshine.
Yeah, we've got everyone back in the same place again. Thankfully.
Who missed me? Who missed me?
I missed you.
Yay!
But my aim's getting better.
That's where we insert the...
I'm learning to lead the target.
Right? Easy. You just don't lead him as much.
Oh, boy.
I was just going to insert the sound of crickets in there.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, waka, waka, waka.
Well, Josh is back, and he's now a happily married man.
Well, I
right?
don't know about happily, but that took less
Wow.
than a week. No, I'm
Okay,
joking. No, it's
geez.
great.
Yeah, you were living together for a while.
I know.
In sin.
City.
So you should have got, yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I left that part.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Good.
You know, we got married on May the 4th because duh. So
How many other Star Wars themed weddings were there?
There were two in front of us because we just went to one of the chapels here in town, down on the Strip.
And they were all Star Wars
Darth
themed?
Vader married us.
Oh,
it was awesome.
That's cool.
I literally went as Trooper Steve for my wedding. So I had kind of a white suit and then a good Black Series Stormtrooper helmet. I was literally Trooper Steve for my wedding.
Right on.
I like the tie that you had.
Right, the Stormtrooper tie.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Threw some purple in there because duh.
Of course.
But no, it was good.
How was the bride attired?
She had kind of a
Who cares? Did you hear about my suit?
Right. No, she had like Princess Leia hair done up. And then she just had a kind of a nice dress. That's
Like
kind
Return
of
of the Jedi Leia?
Yes.
Or...
Yeah,
okay.
kind of like that.
All right.
The
second half, not the first half.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So helmet hair, Leia.
Okay.
And then she, just had a dress, bunch of stars and stuff on it. But
okay. That's
yeah.
fun.
And then we had.
Did you have a saber arch?
Yes. Yeah, we went and we bought off of like Amazon. They had like $1.25 per lightsabers.
Spared no expense.
Yeah, when you're buying them for 50 people, it's at least like $70.
George Lucas is like cha-ching.
Yeah, right. No, they were just toy lightsabers, but inside the chapel we had 50 people doing a saber arch, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're all LED light up and everything, so that was cool.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was a fun time. A lot of folks dressed up. We had some folks there as Arena Battle Padme. That was fun.
Did you get to do? Oh, wow. Yeah. Zounds. Okay, you got my attention.
No, but and yeah, it was fun.
Anything else May the 4th related fun that you got into?
Aside from my entire wedding day, no.
No, okay.
So
that kind of filled your day.
The cake was
there.
the best, though.
Oh yeah,
because me and Nova, we both played X-Wing.
North Virginia, yeah.
Right. No, stop. That's her name.
Right.
Because she's a heavenly body. Anyway,
that exploded.
Right. Anyways, so we both played X-Wing. So we had a cake that was a portion of the Death Star trench, and instead of like the bride and groom like cake toppers, we had one of her X-Wings and one of my TIE Advanced Darth Vader ships chasing each other down the Death Star trench. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
my first concern when I saw it was like, oh god, I hope this isn't like the mercury cake from the episode of Metalocalypse where everyone got mercury poisoning and died. No, it was a really cool looking cake though.
That was cool.
Yeah, I missed the ceremony. Unfortunately, I had to work all day.
Right.
But
yeah, how was your May the 4th? You were at work.
Yeah, I was working
for most of
it, so that wasn't a great experience. But whatever. Later, I got to meet up with everybody for the reception, and myself and my boss showed up, and
who's also my boss.
Yeah, so we show up when we're not wearing Star Wars attire because we came pretty much right from
you were the normies.
Town hall. We were the normies. So we're this restaurant wasn't only reserved for the reception; it was a full active restaurant. So we walk in, we're looking around like, are we in the right place? And then we see a girl walk in with a stormtrooper helmet, and we're like, yeah, we're in the right place.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
Just follow the stormtrooper. We'll be good.
Yeah.
It would have been funny if you showed up in like Star Trek uniforms.
I actually considered it, like keeping it on the DL what I was going to wear, and then showing up in like a Captain Kirk outfit.
I should have just showed up in Game of Thrones attire.
Yeah.
Like, wait, this
Perfect
is like our visit to
the
LA?
cantina. Yeah.
Wow, talk about a script flip there, John. Yeah. Anyways, Star Wars news.
Yes.
Go.
Well, we have. Jeez. We have the roadmap for the next couple of years for Star Wars movies coming out post Episode 9.
And and I hear for these episodes that the same guys that have been writing all of Season 8 of Game of Thrones are writing these movies. And boy, am I excited.
We don't know for sure. All we know is we have time slots from 22 through 26, basically, for December of each of those. Every 2 years, there's going to be a new trilogy coming out. I guess Rian Johnson's name is still in the ring. I was under the impression he had walked, but it could be the Game of Thronesers, but with the Old Republic stuff. I mean, we could do a separate podcast on the things that's going wrong in Season 8, from what I hear. So
just give all of the episodes to Taika Waititi. Just let Taika Waititi do
there
everything.
It is, yes.
Let him direct every movie from now on.
It's not the directing.
Go get
so
him,
much
new
as the
Doug.
writing.
Yeah, okay. Very, very true.
Yeah, but that's kind of the big one. Also, we have the release of the Edge of the Galaxy theme from John Williams. This is one of the last projects he's going to be doing for Star Wars, and I gave it a listen, and it's pretty good. So they're supposed to be doing a full orchestral album.
Mm-hmm. So he's doing that for the theme park?
The theme park, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to have its own soundtrack, so that's they're spared no expense, you know. It's really going to be top notch. And other than that,
so does that mean they're going to have to move on with Danny Elfman from now on?
Yeah. That would be fun. But in other Star Wars news, you had some Star Wars related news. You have your girlfriend in town from Italy.
Yeah, so my girlfriend's visiting from Italy this whole week, so I've been kind of out of the loop for the most part.
Because she's the troops. And we support the troops.
She is the troops. We support the troops, exactly.
Yes.
But she was, she's really excited to come down here and see. This first time she's been in Vegas since I've lived here, so she wanted to, see where I spend all of my free time and free money.
So you brought her here.
So I brought her here.
Bud. Yeah.
But she, because of my interest in Star Wars Legion, she's like, hey, I kind of want to try it. And she has no background in miniature gaming. She likes board games. She
was whooping your butt at Tiny Towns.
She was with my butt in Tiny Towns. Yeah, she's a gamer.
Yeah,
she can hold her own. Of course, in Legion I gave her an ATST on a 3x3 board.
You did give her a little bit of a handicap there, yeah.
No, we had a good time though. I was like, hey, you want to play as Rebels or Imperials? And she's like, well, you like being Rebels, so I'll be Imperials. All right. And broke my heart a little bit.
She's a good woman, John.
She's a keeper, right?
I hear Darth Vader can marry you down on the street.
Goose stepping your way down the aisle.
If you're interested in just wrapping that all up right now.
Right. So we got a game in. 3x3 table. Didn't really
3x3 with Vader and an ATST.
Yeah.
Everything else doesn't matter.
So I gave her, a few more points than I had, but she took to it pretty quickly.
Spotted her a cool 100 points.
Yeah, but I mean,
did you at least run a T-47 in response?
No,
you should have.
That would have been funny. No, I had Chewbacca on the table.
You sit there and just turn donuts on a 3x3.
Whee!
I feel like that'd be more of a pain in the butt than it'd be worth. No, I mean I got some shots in with Chewie on it and ended up taking it down. But yeah, needless to say, she pretty much wiped everything off the board by the end of turn 3. She had a good time though. She enjoyed it. It was my first time teaching somebody who had no basis in miniature gaming whatsoever. So just having to go over just the concepts of moving models and cover
things
and
we
kind of
take
stuff.
for granted,
for sure. But there was even one point, I don't remember exactly what it was, but she was questioning my call on cover. It was the Wookiees, because I had the Wookiees hiding behind like a piece of terrain that we ruled as cover to, and it was shorter than an actual barricade. And she looks and she goes, "They're too big. They're not getting cover from that. Get out of here."
Nice.
Like, wow, we're 3 turns into your first game. We already questioning cover rules.
calling BS on your rules.
Have I told you I do a podcast about this show, this game?
Don't you know who I am? Yeah, I just
Right?
don't care.
I was pretty proud of her. But yeah, it was a good first game. I think she enjoyed it.
It sounded like she was having fun. I was kind of eavesdropping as you guys since we were down at the store. But yeah, that's awesome, man. Think she'll play again?
Probably not this week since we're pretty booked up with stuff. But yeah, I think
you should build her an army for Saturday.
Well, I talked. Well, we'll be out of town. We'll be in Utah, but but I've talked to her about that. I'm like, if I actually helped you to make a list, would you want to play again? She's like, absolutely, yeah.
Cool, that's awesome, man.
Have her make friends with Nova.
That would be cool.
Does Nova come to the store anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she just doesn't. She loved X-Wing. Doesn't have any interest in
gotcha.
Legion.
Speaking
it's
of,
a little bit more. Why don't we talk about the game this podcast is about?
Well, I mean, so I was going to start with my X-Wing experience because my May the 4th, I was just running demos, but we had 15 people down here for X-Wing throughout the course of the day, so that was pretty good.
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, I got to demo for one or two new guys, and some people we hadn't seen in a while showed up, so that was really cool. The next day, we did the Revenge of the Sith and had some Legion. Sunday's definitely a quieter day, but had some people show up for that. New guy that was interested in it. Also didn't have any background in, tabletop gaming or anything, so that
just came for his love of Star Wars.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, his buddy told him about it. Keith, friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
His brother-in-law.
Cool.
Keith's gotten some demos. He doesn't play. I'm still trying to twist his arm to get him into it.
Me too.
But, yeah. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for Star Wars news.
So
what else we got? Wait. We got some new hot news today, off the presses.
So FFG has broken their, 2-week thing of silence on Legion-related news releases.
Hooray!
We know that we finally are getting that Army Painter paint set.
It's Army Painter, right?
It is Army Painter.
It is Army Painter, okay. There was some speculation out there, based on the look of the bottles and some of the names,
we might have
Strong Tone Wash. It's that's Army Painter.
Yeah.
But there's no word Army Painter anywhere.
It might be
in
on
that
the
article.
small script or something on the back.
No, I looked.
Oh, really?
I very much looked.
It kind of because they've done the same thing for D&D miniature painting, and that's been out for a little while. It's something we stock. I'll have to go look and see if Army Painter, but yeah, basically they just have a tie-in paint line that's supposed to complement whatever the subject matter is. I might have talked about this a long time ago in the first
one of the first few episodes.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, why did it take you this long to come out with a paint line for a core set that's now we're getting a new core set. How long is it going to be before we get one for that one? But based on what I remember, so this was Gamma of 2008, 17, 18. Well, it was 18. Basically the few months before Legion had even come out. Mm-hmm. We stopped by and we had heard that there was a promo or something, a photo of Army Painter with Legion colors, or it was the rules guide. They specifically mentioned some of the paints they used.
But
it wasn't the one that made it to major release. It was back when they still had the article in there about how to make your own Endor trees and stuff, hobby related stuff in the core book. And so we stopped by and we're talking to, I think it was one of the big guys, Eunice or something like that. That's one of the head guys, and he was basically, we can't, confirm or anything like that. But if we were to be making something like this, we would probably be stuck in hell working with Lucasfilm because they have to approve every single shade to be movie, accurate and all this. And there's a big back and forth. But we expect it to be done by the summer. And apparently he didn't say which summer because
well, there is a summer coming.
Summer 2019.
Yeah. But that's kind of why it's I believe that's probably why it took so long to actually get out to us.
Now your miniatures can be 501st compliant. Yay!
That's what we were worried about. Yeah, that was it.
So we saw the price point for it, right? You said it was what the core set,
$50 for the
full Schwingeting core set. Yeah,
and then they have side sets, Rebels and Imperials.
Yeah.
So the main set, I don't even know if core set is the right word.
Yeah,
a starter set, I don't know. But the big set, it's 36 paints. It's got
is
2
it 36?
washes.
I thought it was 18.
Yeah. No, I thought it was 36. It's 36 with.
That's a really good price then.
That's an extremely good price.
It's got a brush, 2 metallic paints that are both silver, One's it's kind of like a light silver and then a darker silver.
Okay, so like a gunmetal and like aluminum or some
right,
chrome
basically.
or something like that. Okay.
They've all got Star Wars names, so it's like Astromech Silver or something. And then there's like 2 washes. It's their Strong Tone wash, which was the Army Painter clue for me.
Yeah.
And then there's one other one. I didn't see what it was called. It got some Star Wars
Packaging
name.
looks pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I mean, it's $50.
So core paint is 18 colors.
Oh, it's 18 colors.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
18 colors for $50.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
still not bad. Plus, you get some brushes, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you compare that to what GW typically charges for their paint sets. And
Well, okay, here's what the core set says. 18 essential colors with 2 washes, adding for rich depths of shading for your miniatures. The paint set is a perfect entry point for beginning miniatures. Painters, they also have 2 fine-tipped brushes in this set, both versatile enough to handle... Okay, so 2 brushes, 18 colors.
Yeah. The Rebel set is great because it's got Duro Skin Blue,
Oh,
which is great.
Yeah.
It's got a bunch of different colors. It's got the Endor Green. It's got...
At least they didn't call it I Die First Blue,
Right. They should have.
and
is that,
you get 10 paints.
Is
in
that
Rebel
when it's
set.
I die? Is it DYE as in like
Ah,
paint color?
puns, great,
Yeah.
yes.
Hey, you guys missed me so much last week. Anyway,
Yes.
the Imperial set. There's like a red for Imperial Royal Guard
Okay.
and a wide variations of white, black, and gray.
see, no, actually, I think that's probably a very useful set based on the fact that like you're not going to use just one white. If
Right.
You want to make,
Yeah.
add some depth
All
to
I'm
it.
trying to say is it's very monochrome.
Okay.
How do you find working with like dropper bottles versus like paint pots?
I prefer dropper bottles.
You do.
As long as
do you use
keep,
a wet palette
I do. Yeah, most of the time.
when you're not airbrushing? And
When
whatnot?
I'm not rushing, but I think it's just a lot better to use those. Worst case, you got to clear out the nozzle a little bit every once in a while if you get some dried paint residue in there. But I mean, you're great using it on an airbrush because you can kind of control how many drops you have going in.
It's already
there.
a very thin formulation from what I recall.
The Army
But,
Painters.
Yeah.
I don't like Army Painter paints for just that reason. I've
He
found
likes it thick. You got to lay it on there with a teaspoon.
I like to be able to thin my own paints to the consistency
Okay.
I want.
Sure.
But I find very often, especially with those dropper bottles, that, and I don't know if I just picked up a bad batch of Army Painter paints or an old batch or whatever, but it separates a lot. And
lot of
trying
paints
to
do
mix
that.
it up, I've
Yeah.
literally sat there and shaked a bottle for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the first couple of squeezes out of it is just no pigment.
Do you ever,
Okay.
do you ever put a BB in there?
You can't in the Army Painter bottles without cutting the top off.
Oh, okay.
I say I had
Yeah.
an electric shaker. Actually, you could just strap it down. It shakes it like
maybe I need something like that. But and like I said, maybe I've got a really old set,
What you need to do is get yourself a British nanny to just shake the crap out of it.
or just hand them to Michael J. Fox.
See, that was too far. Sure, I can.
But yeah, I've just been. I just haven't been impressed with Army Painter.
Okay.
I
I think
I
the
don't.
quality's been getting better the last couple of years, but I don't use them heavily because I don't paint. So.
But I also don't. I also don't paint to Canon colors. So something like this for me, meh.
So like bronze and
Yeah.
iron and stuff.
No, and I'm
Canon
going to go ahead and
colors.
say that it's a pretty good deal. Price point wise, it's great. You're not going to beat that that level of or that number of paints for that price.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who's just getting into the hobby, doesn't have any paints whatsoever, I would strongly recommend that. I would also recommend to get a few other paints that are close to the tones that are included in there, just so they can learn how to layer, do depth, edge highlighting, things like that.
You are not wrong. I just pulled up the Imperial paint set.
Right?
Yeah, that is.
It's very
Quite the-
monochrome.
yeah.
Right. I don't understand. Like, paint set is great.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not Separatists and Republic to coincide with the release of all of the new players.
So
that
they
got to
start the approval
That-
process for that for another 2 years.
That was my next point was
Like-
why would you have the factions that have been out for almost 2 years now or a year and a half have those be the ones that are featured, which most people have already painted their miniatures.
Wow.
I mean, have those available, great, but push out those Separatist clone. It is Separatist and clone
You're
lines.
going to get a major influx of players here in about 3 months.
Yeah, well, at least it'll be available for
But
that.
they ain't going to be painting Imperials and Rebels.
Maybe, but you're right. It would be ideal, but I mean, like I was just telling the story, they're moving at the speed of Lucas, so
Right.
it could take a little while, depending on how far they've been planning it out. Maybe we'll be surprised and they're like, oh, also, a month or two down the line, here comes the Separatist paint set.
Coming summer 2021.
Yeah, right.
Now, what I really like to see from them would be to do something along the lines of what GW has done with Duncan.
Yeah.
Because I think they should really get somebody out there to do some basic tutorials for their paint schemes.
Well, they've already
Sarastro's already doing that.
Yeah,
But
mean,
I
it's
haven't
not an
seen
official
anything.
product.
I haven't seen much from him within the last few months.
He's painting hobbits and stuff right now.
Why?
Journeys in Middle Earth, the other FFG game.
Get back to doing some
It's
Star
a
Wars
good game,
stuff.
dude.
Oh,
It's a fun game.
I'm
It's real
sure
fun.
it's a cool game. I nothing against. I love Lord of the Rings too, but just make some Star Wars stuff, man.
Why do you hate New Zealand?
I do not hate New Zealand.
Why
New
do you
Zealand
hate-
rocks.
Do you,
with
do you
three
even
exclamation
support the
points.
troops? You don't support the troops.
Why do you hate elves riding shields doing archery? Come on,
Yeah,
man.
come on.
What's wrong
was,
with you?
That was a poignant moment in that.
Wasn't
that
it,
film.
though?
Yeah.
Still only counts as one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back and talk a little bit about something that's
Stuff.
kind of been
Things.
I don't know, a bugaboo
Well,
in
hot
the
button
community.
issue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hot button issue within the Legion community. I think we all know what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's
so,
all thread this minefield.
Yeah, stick around. We're gonna be right back.
You're listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tattooing Network, recorded on location at Power 9 Games. Whether you're looking for the latest releases from Legion, X-Wing, 40K, Magic, or any of our other extensive inventory of board and card games, head to power9games.com and use coupon code OUTRIDER10 to get 10% off your order. Plus, shipping is free on orders over $100. Now, back to the Outriders.
Welcome back, Outriders. All right, so let's get to the big bit of news that everyone's been talking about. I finished Splimo.
Yeah, I saw it.
It
He
looks really
angry.
good.
Like,
It looks-
does the model look angry?
Yeah,
Like,
it actually kind of does. So
Okay.
I used that Tamiya gloss black and got the eye, filled in the inside of the eyes with it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, this actually turned out really cool.
Nice.
So
It's not like Anakin going into his happy place and then lopping the heads off of all the daisies and whatnot in the field.
I mean, it very well might be. I don't know. So even though I did, put a
He
magnet
was
in his
actually
butt,
upset as he was
because
shooting
he's
people.
got a magnet
Oh my
in
God.
his butt.
And there, we stopped missing him again.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even though I magnetized all of them, I really do want to run it as a full unit with all the weapons on it, just so I could justify putting all the work into all the characters on it.
And they look fantastic, even the Twi'lek. So I got done looking. I commented on your paint job.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. And then I went to the Facebook page, and somebody posted up one even better.
Oh,
And I was
there's
like,
been some.
oh man,
I'm really impressed. Like we've seen some off-canon T-47s and some off-canon AT-STs, but man, the stuff that people are doing
there was
is great.
there was one that was in progress. It was like he did. God, I wish I remembered the guy's name, but he was saying, "Oh, it sucks, do this factory finish on the T40,
Yeah, and then you gotta
T34,
muck it up,
X34,
right?
and
Yeah.
but it looked beautiful. The seats were amazing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks comfortable. I can go for a posh ride in this little speeder. But yeah.
And honestly, I kind of struggled with doing the same thing. I was like, do I want to leave this nice brown finish? And I'm like, no, I got to throw some battle damage in there. So, and that is actually where having multiple metallics comes in, because I did a chipping effect where you put,
Yeah,
I did a little bit of darkening with some grayish black, then went over with some gunmetal, and then did individual scratches with the chrome color. Mm-hmm. And you can get a really cool chipping effect by doing that with multiple layers of metallics.
I think it turned out great.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm just really impressed with what the community is doing with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great canvas.
I'm gonna need an Arctic camo from you for my.
Oh,
I
God.
built my X34, so
We'll talk about that
Hey,
one.
at least you built it yourself.
I'll build them.
All right, so really the thing that I
Gotta
think
do
is-
it.
that's been
Yeah,
really
gotta do it.
pressing with the community this past week. So full disclosure, we're obviously all good friends with Nick Freeman.
Yeah.
We've had him on the show multiple times.
He is a BFF of the show.
Yeah. And we value everything he's brought to the community, which I think, regardless of any of the controversy going on right now, he's done a lot for the Legion community.
He's had an impact, yeah. X.
For those of you guys who maybe not involved in the Star Wars Legion Facebook page, or just have been out of the loop for the last week.
Yeah, I think this drama kind of reached its tendrils to everything, though.
Yeah,
sure.
Hopefully they've peaked now.
Yeah,
We're not reigniting.
Oh,
things, it's worth talking about.
Nick Freeman is one of the top 8 finishers from the High Command at Adepticon. Had a invite for Worlds, and received an email from the Asmodee
organized
play, basically stating that your invite to Worlds has been revoked.
You are hereby uninvited.
You're uninvited, and it's because of certain play issues that were brought up from High Command. Now, mind you, this was sent out about a month and a half,
6 weeks
after
the tournament.
High Command.
Yeah.
And Nick was very, he
was
seemed
upset.
fairly, upset about it. Yeah. I mean, understandably. He posted on Facebook about his, saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be at Worlds. This is what happened," and it stirred up quite the bee's nest of controversy. Now, people, went back and looked at what the incidents where he was being accused.
Because this was all on camera.
Because this is all on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that there are times where he will put his order tokens out in front of him. He'll, issue his command card. He'll put the order token. He'll look at all his order tokens. He'll put the ones out that, were playable by his command card. And then,
he doesn't look at all of them every turn, but that's his.
He gets the ones that.
That's his method of stack or bag or whatever. He lays them all out, and then he looks at them to find the orders he wants to issue.
But he wasn't specifically randomizing them after that.
Then he wasn't shuffling them afterwards.
It looked like for most of them he would just push them together.
Right. Yeah. The important thing, I think, first when you talk about this is that laying them out on the table in front of you is in and of itself is not supported by the rules document.
Yeah.
It's stack or bag. That's it. So if you're one of those players that lays them out flat, stop doing that.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to be making some changes to play because nobody wants to be in that situation.
Right.
Oh, no.
I mean, to even be considered that he might be using this to his advantage to get an unfair, advantage.
Sure. And you could
ran out of words
from the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yes.
Watching the stream and seeing how that's done, you can absolutely say, well, now he knows what half of those tokens are. So, the question of whether or not he knows, obviously, none of us watching will ever know what's going through his mind at that time.
Actually, I think it was Josh that said the other day, is like, you can't prove intent.
Exactly.
We don't know. I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt there. Not everybody's willing to cut him that much.
You're stealing my thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please continue
go
my
ahead
thought.
and finish, but no.
But it's kind of like, obviously there was a play error there. FFG made their ruling, and he's now abiding by it. He was going to appeal, I believe, and he was trying to get his opponents to say, hey, I don't think he was actually, he couldn't get 100% agreement on that, so he dropped it.
Yeah, and I commend him for that because he did reach out to his opponents and ask, like, did you have any issue with this? And of course, as we know, like, there were some people who looked at it and said, no, you could have gotten an advantage from this. And I think he realized, okay, then if that's the situation, I abide by the ruling, and I commend him for that. We can vouch for his character because we've whether we've played against him or watched him play or just from knowing him, it doesn't seem like something he would do with the intent that's other people have accused him of.
And that's the kind of thing that gets me is seeing some of the community reaction where, like, he's a cheater.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he is a cheater. I mean, did he make an error? Yes. Did he do something that was counter to the rules of this game? Absolutely. Nobody's gonna look at what he did and doubt that what he did isn't consistent with the rules and is also not something that could be abused. Yeah. Okay. I've seen people cheat before in gaming. I've seen a live stream in X-Wing where a guy sees a maneuver that his opponent does, literally while his opponent is occupied doing his maneuver, picks up his dial and thumbs it over to a different maneuver and then puts the dial back down. Okay,
this is on live
stream.
On stream.
Wow.
At Worlds. Like, duh. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that was like a finals table, wasn't it?
I don't think it was a finals table. It was the first day. And I think FFG's reaction to that might be coloring some of this because
they
bungled it big time.
That's
because
fair.
it was brought to their attention and then they didn't go back and retroactively change the result of the match he cheated in.
Yeah.
So the guy ended up winning that match. So his opponent still had a loss.
The guy that cheated?
Yes, the guy that cheated won the match. They let that match stand and then gave him a forfeit loss in the next match. But then that ends up screwing over the opponent of that match because it's not a 200-0 win. Mm-hmm. So now you've got less MOV. They bungled it.
Dominoes,
right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot on FFG's side where maybe they're just being very, very firm here in this instance. I'm not going to sit here and try and say that Nick shouldn't have been sanctioned for this. Absolutely, he should have been. If this is something that's caught during the round, it's probably an automatic forfeiture, and I think that would be the fair result. Is he cheating? I don't think so. Cheating is intent. Cheating is I picked up my dial with the intent to change the outcome of this game.
Yeah.
I think he's guilty of violating the rules.
Sure.
I don't think that's cheating.
Sure, and I think you could probably attribute a lot of that to negligence because let's face
sloppy
it,
it's a bad habit. It's a sloppy play habit.
And mind you, this is like he's the second day in a row where they're playing 4+ games. He played 8 games in 2 days. So just from having played one tournament my entire life, by that third or fourth game, like I'm probably committing that same problem multiple times because I just don't think about it.
We're not here to make.
You played a game with him a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that how he did his tokens then?
Didn't
notice.
I didn't
right?
notice, yeah.
Okay.
It's
without trying to make excuses, though.
Sure. No. I'm not trying to make excuses.
I think one of the big things that have come out of this, though, is that they have retroactively changed an outcome weeks after the event.
And I think is overly harsh. I really do. If you see it at the time and you give them a loss, that's fine. That's the fair result.
Sure.
What I have the problem with this and there's nobody innocent here, okay?
Oh,
nobody is covering themselves in glory with this incident.
It's seldom glory to go around in these kind of situations.
In the heat of the moment, for lack of a better term, a TO's got to make a decision right then and there. Do you DQ somebody? Is it a match loss? Whatever.
But the TO wasn't even aware.
Sure. And nobody on the stream was aware. The opponents weren't aware. Some people have said, are you supposed to hawk your opponent to make sure they're playing by the rules? According to the rules, yeah. There's a stipulation in the rules that if there's a missed opportunity and you see it and you don't inform your opponent, you've made a violation.
Oh, I know that's how it is for Magic play.
Sure. So yes, you're supposed to be watching your opponent to make sure they're not only doing not doing the wrong things, but also doing the right things as just sportsmanship.
Sure.
But the way that this has gone down, where FFG got a tip, essentially is and I don't know if maybe Luke and Alex were sitting there watching a stream 4 weeks later and went, wait a minute.
Hold on
or
a
if
second.
somebody emailed them, right?
Sure. We don't know. Yeah.
What has happened here from talking to Nick is that nobody emailed him. Nobody emailed his opponents. In the heat of the moment, make the decision. 5 weeks later, you got to investigate it, right?
Sure.
You got to talk to people. You got to figure out, was there malicious intent? Because I'll be honest with you, going back Tuesday, rewatching those matches, you'd be hard pressed for me to point out a situation where he benefited from looking at those tokens, which is why I think it's just a sloppy play habit, and he's not cheating.
But it's questionable.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
But, to rescind a Worlds invitation, you can't rescind it on maybe, on could have. I think you've got to look at it, and I've talked to a bunch, I've seen probably 1,000 messages between Facebook, Discord, whatever. There hasn't been a single message where somebody has gone, look, at that activation on turn 3, he did this because he had already looked at that token. Not once. Sure. You would think that there would be some instance somewhere, if he was truly cheating and acting with ill intent, that one person would have been able to say, well, he saw that token was his Chewy token, and look, he saved it until the absolute last activation of the round. That was absolutely the right move right there. Nobody. Well, and I've seen other top-level players say, I watched it, and I can't find it. So
just because it wasn't a message is because apparently one person did say that, and it was one of his opponents, and that's
there
all
is
it
a
takes.
Player who said they felt he cheated. Now we don't know, and I'm not trying to read into anything, but we don't know whether that was in retrospect, whether that was at the time, we don't know the circumstances of that. Somebody may have gone back after the fact, looking at the totality of the evidence that has come out now and said, yeah, you know what? Maybe I think he did. And that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's a good point.
But that's not what FFG did. FFG got a report, looked at the stream, and banned or kicked out. I think that's overly harsh. I don't think that's doing due diligence. On the spot at the tournament, you got to make a snap decision. That's fine. 5 weeks after the fact, find out. Because if you got 5 guys that are saying, "Hey, you know what?" Meh.
So we don't know what actually FFG did for this. We know they didn't talk to Nick because that's what Nick told us, other than to notify him he wasn't coming. We don't know if they were in communication with the players or the TO or anything like that. We just don't know. We don't have that information.
I think that they're maybe going a little overboard, but they're correcting a bad habit and they're setting a precedent, hopefully, for the future in this game.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
I hope everybody can learn a lesson from
right.
this.
Yeah. If you're not bringing a bag to a tournament to pull your stuff out of, you're playing with fire, my friend.
Yeah.
But that's just the way that's been handled just bothers me.
That's
I think it could have been handled a lot better, and I think some effort could have been done after the fact to go, is he cheating? Because if he's cheating,
again, intent.
You can never prove intent, but when a rule is being broken and broken repeatedly, and if there are players who question whether or not an advantage was gained,
could have gained an advantage.
Yeah, and I feel like if their decision is to, suspend him or prevent him from, disinvite him from Worlds, he did the right thing by abiding by that. And I think that
it's not like he could show up day up. I'm here to play. I won. Let's do this.
Right?
Ooh, Nick.
But he's accepted the decision, and I think that we as a community need to learn from that. So going forward, how do you think that we need to adjust the way that we play this game competitively? Well,
and Nick kind of said it privately to us. I think the rules need to be tightened up. There's a lot of things in the rules that are very vague.
Sure.
Third-party bases must be the same general size and shape. That's a pretty wide net to throw out there, right? And if somebody gets DQ'd because somebody looks at their bases 5 weeks after the fact.
What is this, April 2018 again?
No,
I think we did this episode.
No, but what I'm saying is there's a lot, and I will absolutely recognize right now that what Nick did isn't one of those gray areas. Okay, because it says token or stack or bag. Okay, but I think it needs to be even a bag.
Yeah,
you will have a bag.
I think that's the best.
Period. Dot.
I think everybody has access to a dice bag, Crown Royal or otherwise that they can use.
Bring a baggie from your whatever you bought on the way to the tournament.
Get some googly eyes and put it on there and double as a sock puppet. Have some fun with it.
Right.
Get a little craftsy.
Yeah, I think there's enough, Etsy stores, whatever that offer, Star Wars.
I mean, we got a
bags.
bag for going to LVO as part of the
right.
swag people were using.
Yeah, so I think we need to make sure we get clarified. There was a question of whether or not it was his Minoc third-party tokens that were being used, and that became a big argument for a while. So,
and I don't think he handled that very well.
That was handled poorly.
Yeah, that was handled very, very poorly.
Yeah.
But in the heat of the moment, he claims that he misinterpreted something and kind of ready, fire, aim with his message.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I think we can all agree on that.
Which, and again, this kind of goes back to not being handled the best. Bumping along 2:00 on a Tuesday, bing, email, you've been disinvited from Worlds. WTF, mate? Like,
he's such a shy online presence. It's kind of uncharacteristic of him to go straight to the social media outlet.
Yeah.
Wait, no, reverse all of that. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, this is a point where, and you'll notice at no point in any of the points that I've tried to make previously, I've said, it's Nick Freeman. He's done a lot for your community, right? Give the guy a pass or anything like that.
A little bit, maybe.
No.
Okay.
No.
Continue on.
The way FFG treated him as far as notifying him, he deserves better. No. This is a guy, together with LJ, who kept this game alive while it was on life support because FFG couldn't figure out how to print stormtroopers over the summer.
At what point do you say special treatment, though?
Okay. Instead of just giving the guy an email, hey, you've been disinvited from Worlds, send him an email when you start your look into it and say, hey, we just want you to know, or even call the guy. They got his number. I'm pretty sure with what he does and what the relationships he has with the company, they have his number. Call him up and say, hey, just to let you know, we got a report. We're looking into this, but just so you're aware and you're prepared, you may be disinvited from Worlds. I don't think depth charging the guy with an email at 2:30 on a Tuesday, surprise, you're disinvited, is fair to anybody, let alone that guy.
I think that you have to handle this with complete and open, the same treatment for everybody. I think you have to make sure that you're not, there's no issue of potential impropriety going on.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this isn't him as a a Legion representative. This is him as a player. He has the same exact amount of rights and responsibilities as everyone else playing the game.
I think
absolutely. And I'm not saying that his position and what he does for the community should change the judgment at all.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. What I'm saying is how FFG handled notifying him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because of what he does and what he has done for the company.
But that's kind of between them. That's between Nick and Asmodee and FFG.
Sure.
So we can't really speculate on that. But moving forward as a community and figuring out what we need to do to make sure that these things don't come up again. So we know that we need to have a standardized system in place for randomizing tokens.
Sure.
Do we need to have a standardized do we need to make sure that we are only using FFG official tokens?
I don't think so.
Does that need to be a thing?
I don't think so.
We just need to clarify that, though.
I don't think third-party tokens are an issue.
No. And I think there's systems in place for that, like dice checks at any other event.
Sure.
Hey, could you check his tokens real quick to make sure they're not bumpy or something?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
silly stuff.
This is an unfortunate, and again, this isn't something that comes from the casual. Well, maybe it is. This is a very casual game. We've had Alex on the show, and he said we wanted this to be a casual game. Nick took a very casual approach to doing his tokens against the rules.
Yeah,
not in as the rules are intended, but at some point you have to say, okay, where does it stop being casual, and where does it start being, where does it start being serious?
Sure, and and honestly, from the other player's standpoint as well, you should be watching your opponent, but don't be afraid to speak up if you think something's fishy.
Yeah,
that's tougher for some people.
It is. It absolutely.
I think if you're gonna be, man enough to point it out a week and a half, or a month and a half later,
that's fair.
Be man enough to point it out at the table. Like,
Absolutely.
don't be afraid
Yeah.
to look at your opponent and say, hey, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong intentionally, but I feel that there could be some advantage gained by doing this. So would you mind, reordering your tokens? Or would you mind,
Sure.
having...
But what if it's a situation like Josh brought up where it's like, something wasn't quite sitting right with me, and it wasn't until I watched the footage later, I was like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, and I guess mention something to a TO that day about it, because if FFG, if they're streaming this, they have the ability to go look at it later on that day. And that's going to help with trying to figure out invites to Worlds immediately. So that way, who knows what's going to happen with this? This invite, is somebody else going to get this invite to Worlds because
Probably.
of
But then that brings up the who. You figure the guy that finished 9th, but if Nick had been doing this all day, that invalidates every match he played. From his first one to his last one. So who's to say that the guy he played the first round that now has a lost first round and it now has no margin for error? Who's to say that if it hadn't been caught then and Nick was given a loss, who's to say Nick doesn't go 3-1 and on strength of schedule still makes it if it's caught first round or 4-1 or however many rounds they play.
Unfortunately, it's impossible to make those kind of calls. You just kind of got to do the best you can.
Yeah,
I think the only real solution for this is you give the invite to the last place finisher at LVO.
That's not even me, man.
Oh,
I was
that's right. You
second
didn't
to
even
last.
win at losing.
I didn't even
screwed
lose
that
right.
up,
Yeah,
Matt.
thanks.
Yeah.
I see where you're going there, but
trying to
maybe
help you
the
out, buddy.
second to last place guy. That's the guy that needs to go there.
Is there a cutoff time where you make a decision like this? Where
if you're literally writing the rules, the cutoff time is whatever you say it is, I guess.
Sure. One of the things that, as I've been thinking about this and kind of preparing thoughts for the show is, if somebody brings out a video of the Kentucky Derby this past weekend. They did an instant video review, right? And they kind of overturned the result.
Who the hell watches horse racing?
It was hard to miss it, okay?
I missed it.
I wouldn't say I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay. or if...
Is that where they make the little cards?
I'll make it a hockey thing for you.
I was going to say.
okay.
Do we really have to go? Let's go back to the hit on Pavelski.
No. I'm not going to do that. But if somebody digs up a camera angle 3 weeks after the end of the Stanley Cup Final, Game 7, overtime winner, and they go, wait a minute, that guy was offside. And they look at it and they go, oh yeah, he was offside. Do they go back and hand the Stanley Cup to the next team?
No.
Yeah,
No,
there comes a certain point where after the games are done, it's done. Right?
Yep.
Now, that's a game with a definitive end, hockey. In golf, if they saw that Tiger Woods cheated at the Masters and he should have been assessed a 2-stroke penalty,
what was the
5 weeks.
Inflategate outcome?
The Deflategate outcome?
Yeah.
The Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
that was, yeah. But, does the PGA go back or Augusta National go back 5 weeks after the fact and take the green jacket away from Tiger and give it to someone else?
If we're going to go this route, though, they've taken away gold medals from people found to be juicing.
That's
exactly.
very true, yeah.
So where does this lie? Is this Lance Armstrong being stripped of Tour de France wins because he was juicing? But again, that's clear intent. If they catch you in a trailer with horse placenta hooked up to your arm,
Is that a thing?
Actually, yes.
Sounds like something Gwyneth Paltrow would write about.
Yeah. but all joking aside, that's clear intent to cheat. Right?
Okay.
It's clear intent. So if you have something where it's kind of like, where is there a cutoff? Should there be a cutoff?
I don't know. You don't know.
I think
John, do you know?
The cutoff should be horse placenta attached to your arm. That should be the cutoff.
Yeah. That no father.
In this episode of Goop.
Well, any final thoughts? It's obviously just an ugly
It is.
situation. All the way around,
I wish everybody involved, from Nick to FFG to the community, had
Take a deep
handled
breath.
this a hell of a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a good moment for us.
Nobody wants to see a witch hunt anywhere.
the good thing
either
is,
side, you know.
I've seen stuff like this in X-Wing go on for weeks.
Yeah.
And here it is 2 days after, and it's pretty much, paint's cool, whatever. Like, it's everybody had their camp, everybody got their angst out, you know, and you were either Team Nick or Team F Nick, unfortunately.
Did you say ethnic?
Nick. Yeah, Azerbaijani. That's what team I'm on.
They follow the eagle.
We're pretty much back to
We've got tacos.
The normal drudgery of day-to-day Legion verse.
Oh,
you know?
so horrible.
I don't mean it that way.
First world problems?
Yeah, right.
Okay, that's fair. On a side note, release dates for Bosk and Sabine?
Yeah.
Confirmed?
No, not yet.
Oh, what are you doing?
Boo
I got
that
you out
man.
there. Yes, thank you. Oh, yes, give it to me.
Boo.
Feed me. I was really hoping they'd actually have some dates today, but
I mean, we're still predicting what, like the 25th of May?
yeah, by the end of the month,
about
I
that,
think
yeah.
is what everybody's expecting.
Seems to be like the last week.
I'm looking
of-
forward to
of-
both of those guys, honestly.
me too.
I'm at this point, I'm just imagining Luke and Alex in their office. When are we releasing the updates? The same time we always do, Luke. At the end of the month. I mean, come on,
on a
guys.
Friday.
On a
Expect them
Friday.
tomorrow.
Right.
Today, if you're listening.
They usually give like a week or two heads up. 2
Yeah.
weeks usually when they put the dates up. But I'm excited for them.
I'm extremely excited for that.
I'm gonna try to bring a rebel list with my with a speeder
What?
and an
Okay,
outer
that
rim
doesn't
jockey.
surprise me.
Yeah, there you go.
To an RPG? Or
Either
RPG?
tonight or to the tournament on Saturday.
Okay,
We've
nice.
got our
Can
Saturday
you mod
tournament.
your T-47? Like one guy modded his with Splimo
Splimo
off the
sitting
back.
on the back. Yeah,
Please.
That's awesome.
That was
Yeah.
amazing.
just hanging off. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Except for you got to give him the ground buzzer.
Right?
Give him or the harpoon gun.
oh,
Have him like Captain Ahab sitting on the back.
good news, everybody! Splimo's got this.
Oh no, we've got a malfunction in fire control.
All right, guys. On that note, we're going to head out for this week. We will catch you next week with more great stuff from Star Wars Legion.
You've been listening to the Legion Outriders podcast, a member of the Radio Free Tatooine Network.
Only now, at the end, do you understand?
For more from the Outriders, make sure you like us on Twitter @Legion Outriders, subscribe to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Legion Outriders, and make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks for listening.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.